everyone, it's Affy, and today I am here to do my top 20 of 2024. When I went through all my 5-star reads for this year, I had exactly 20 books, so I figured I'd just do 20 for this year and call it even. I'm really happy with the list of books that I have here. I'm going to just give a little blurb about the book, but yeah, I'm gonna count from 20 and go all the way down to 1 so that you can see what my top listed book of the year is. So coming in at book number 20, I have here Karen Rainey's Tapestry. And in this book, we have a young couple who are basically torn apart by war. This book was very sad. I cried multiple times reading this book. Probably the only book that I've cried to this year so far. I don't think anything else has made me cry. But this one was memorable because I cried more than once. They get married and life is good for like a year or two, and then he goes off to the war and it just goes to hell after that. This was a really good one. I did enjoy it. Obviously I gave it 5 stars, but it definitely brought several tears to my eyes. Coming in at number 19, I have Tempting the Bride. This is by Sherry Thomas, and this is one that I literally just finished reading a few weeks ago. This is about a couple who have known each other since they were children. He's always loved her, but he's also always made fun of her and picked at her and prodded at her and kind of annoyed the ever-living crap out of her. And so she does not like him. So she doesn't like him because obviously he's made her life a living hell ever since they were children, and a situation occurs. They have to pretend to be married, and then very shortly after, she loses her memory. So he now has a chance to start from the beginning with her and come off a little bit better, in hopes that she will fall in love with him. This one was very, very fun. I love the build up between these two characters. This was the 3rd book in a series. And so you get to see them in the other books. They definitely have a lot of witty comebacks with one another, and it's glorious in this book. Their comebacks are just chef's kiss. Number 18 is by Loretta Chase. This is Duke's Preferred Blondes. This is the 4th book in the Dressmaker series. Let me see if I can show you sorry, the lights are kind of bright. In this book, we have a spoiled aristocratic girl and a lawyer. They fall in love. He asks her to marry him. Obviously, it's a class difference, so he has to convince her family to let him marry her. It gets very interesting from there. I love these two characters. He's a little nerdy, but he's also kind of stuck up about it, and it makes for a very interesting character. And she's very much a princess. Like, she throws her little fits sometimes when she doesn't get what she wants, and so they make for a very interesting couple. Number 17 is by Kate Bateman. This is A Reckless Match. This book is about a couple who come from rival families. They have to meet once a year and shake hands on their property to kind of keep the peace. This particular year, the two meet and they end up in a bit of an adventure and fall in love through this adventure that they have to go on. There's bad guys, there's intrigue, and it's just a lot of fun. This was a really fun story. Number 16 is by Lorraine Heath. This is part of the, oh gosh, which series is it? I've read several of her series now, so I'm a little bit lost. Oh, the Scoundrels of St. James series. So this is, I believe, the 4th book in the series. This is Midnight Pleasures with a Scoundrel. And this is about Detective Swindler and a young woman that he meets who is on a mission to take out the man that got her sister killed. He realizes that this woman is possibly going to commit a crime, so he starts spending time with her in hopes that he can prevent that crime from happening, and obviously falls in love with her. Then the crime ends up happening anyways, and she's the number one suspect, and so he has to figure out what's going on. I just love this one. Book number 15 is by Evangeline Collins. This is 7 Nights to Forever. In this book, we have a woman who is a sex worker. She works 1 week a month. She is very beautiful, very, very coveted. And our gentleman in this book is a man who is just treated horribly by his wife. So he goes to her for comfort, and they end up falling in love. I love this story. This is a very beautiful, very touching story. So if you're able to get your hands on this book, it's very, very good. I think this writer only wrote 2 books in all. I'm about to read the second one, and I'm pretty excited for it because this was a really good one. Book number 14 is another one by Lorraine Heath, and this is also part of the Scoundrels of St. James series. This is Between the Devil and Desire. In this book, we have Jack Dodger, who is the owner of a gaming hell. And then our heroine, who is the widow of a duke, so she's a duchess. And her husband has basically left Jack everything, including care of her son. And so she hates him. He now owns her home. He now has control over her son. He has all the money, and she is pissed. This is an enemies to lovers. It's done very, very well, and I love Jack. I did not like him in the first book, but he definitely grew on me in this book, and so this is one of my top 20 for the year. Number 13 is another Kate Bateman, but this is from a different series. This is the Bow Street Bachelor series. This is To Catch an Earl, and in this book we have a thief. She's known as the Nightjar. And then we have an Earl who also happens to be a Bow Street runner, so a cop. So we have a couple who are on opposite sides of the law. They happen to have met at a masquerade ball 2 years prior and danced with one another, and he has been looking for this woman ever since. And when he meets our heroine, he realizes she might be the woman that he's been looking for, but he also realizes that she might be the criminal that he's looking for. So he's in a bit of a pickle. This is a game of cat and mouse, and this one was a really, really fun one. I had a really good time with this one. Coming in at number 12, I have Alyssa Braden. This was the first book I read by her. This is The Making of a Highlander. And in this book, we have a brash talking Scottish heroine and a very buttoned up Englishman, and they meet. She offers to help him with a situation that he's in. He finds her very annoying at first, but she starts to grow on him, and once he falls for her, he falls very, very hard. This book was hilarious. I love our heroine, Annie. She is so much fun. And like I said, when John falls for her, he falls really, really hard. This was a really, really, really good book. Number 11 is by Sarah McLean. This is part of the Scandal and Scoundrel series. This is the first book. This is The Rogue Not Taken. It's got a step back here. In this book, we have a heroine who has just gotten herself in a very public scandal, and she is trying to run away from the situation, and she runs straight to the carriage of our hero and hops on and is carted away to the countryside. And when he realizes he's got a stowaway, he pretty much is like, I don't know who you are. I have no business with you whatsoever. You need to find your way back home because I'm not helping you. And she, of course, not knowing how to get herself home, gets herself into even more of a pickle, and he has to step in and save the girl. And they kind of go on an adventure from there. This book was very interesting. The story in and of itself just kind of went in directions I was not expecting. It's a road trip romance, and I do really like road trip romances. There's always so much crazy fun that the couples get into in road trip romances. So this one definitely piqued my interest, and I really enjoyed myself with this one. Now we are leading into our top 10, and there's quite a bit of Lisaclus in there, so hang on. Number 10 is Lisaclus. This is part of the Ravenel series. This is Devil's Daughter. In this book, we have the daughter of Evie and Sebastian St. James from the Wallflower series. This is a crossover. And West Ravenel, who is the brother of the Earl, they meet at a wedding, and she doesn't like him because he was the childhood bully of her deceased husband. And so she has a bone to pick with him, and he thinks that she's beautiful and has to put in some effort to win this lady's heart. They have a beautiful romance, and I just was really happy after reading this one. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It was just like this really good happy feeling. So I really enjoyed this one. I love the books that are crossovers between the Ravenels and the Wallflower. So if you've read that series, you'll probably know which other books might show up on this list. Number 9 is by Jennifer Ashley. This is part of the Mackenzies and McBride series. This is The Wicked Deeds of Daniel Mackenzie. And Daniel Mackenzie is the son of Cameron Mackenzie. He is the brother who trains horses. So Daniel is his son, and Daniel is just a happy-go-lucky, very friendly, very sweet man, and he falls in love with our heroine, who is a spiritual medium. He thinks that she's just gorgeous, and he makes a move. He tries to kiss her, and she takes it the wrong way, knocks him over the head, and thinks that he's dead, so she leaves him in a ditch somewhere, and he finds her. She's freaking out, thinking that, she's gonna get thrown into the gallows for hitting this man over the head and damn near killing him. But he has other plans. He wants to be with her, and he does not care that she knocked him over the head. So this one definitely had me chuckling quite a few times, and like I said, Daniel is just such a sweet character. I really loved him, and I think he's part of the reason this book was so good, was just his character was just an amazing character. Book number 8 is by Suzanne Enoch. This is part of the Scandalous Highlander series. This is Some Like It Scott. And in this book we have Bear and Katrina, and I love Bear and Katrina. They are obviously Scottish, and she is on the run from being forced to marry someone, and he finds her living out in the woods on his family's property. And she's a tough woman. She wears pants, she fishes, she hunts, she can take care of herself, and he finds all of this just wonderful about her. It gets really fun towards the end of the book. He puts his foot down with his family when he realizes that he loves this woman. They don't want him to be with her for reasons. And he's basically like, you will not stop me. This is my woman, and I will do anything for my woman. And I love Bear. He's awesome. Coming in at number 7, I have another book from Loretta Chase's Dressmaker series. This is Silk is for Seduction. This is the first book in the series. And our heroine in this book, Marceline, she is a dressmaker. She goes to Paris to find our hero because he is about to get married, or engaged at least, to a young woman that they feel is going to be just the perfect customer to their dress shop. And so they meet. He is stunned by her beauty, and when he realizes what she's there for, he is very annoyed. But she somehow convinces him, and he just falls head over heels for this woman. She is not one of those people that will lie about what her true reasoning is for things. Like, she tells him straight up, like, I am here for your money, and that's what I'm here for. He definitely falls hard, and she's just such an interesting character. She's very dedicated to her work. So yeah, this was a really, really good one. Book number 6 is one that I recently read. This is by Lorraine Heath, so another Lorraine Heath. This is Once Upon a Dukedom. This is the first book, Scoundrel of My Heart. And in this book, we have a heroine who does not really like our hero at first. But he slowly but surely kind of gets her to be a little more like lukewarm towards him. And when she asks for help to write a letter to a duke who's looking for a wife, he goes and writes on her behalf. And she ends up getting picked by this duke to get courted. He basically is like, oh shit, I did a stupid thing. Like, now she's gonna go off and marry someone else, and I'm realizing I'm falling in love with her. Something horrible goes on with his family. He disappears for about a year, and when they see each other again, things really start to pick up from there. The letter that he writes to this duke about her was just one of the most beautiful things I've ever read. And when they fall hard, and he is just such a sweet man. I love this man so much. He's just... So now we've got our top 5 books for the year, and several of these are Lisaclus. I read a lot of Lisaclus this year. So Lisaclus, this is Worth Any Price. And in this book, we have a heroine who has run away from her would-be fiance. This man is basically very controlling, and she has run away from school, and she is being hunted by Nick Gentry, who is our hero. And he finds her, and he's supposed to take her back to her fiance, but instead he ends up marrying her. Things get very, very interesting from there. This book was a little bit more character driven. He's a very tortured soul, but it's definitely a really, really good one, and I really liked it. Book number 4 is another book in the Ravenel series. This is Marrying Winterborn. And in this book, we have Rhys Winterborn and Helen Ravenel. These two meet after he has been hurt from a train accident, and she's the only person that he wants taking care of her when he is recuperating, and he basically asks her to marry him. Like, the moment he gets better, he's like, I want you to be my wife. But then he goes in for a kiss one day, and everything goes horribly wrong, and he's told that she no longer wants to marry him, but that is not the case. So she goes to his office and tells him, I do want to marry you. And he basically says, well, the only way I'm gonna marry you is if you let me ruin you. And so She does. She lets him ruin her. Reese Winterborn is a very interesting man. I really like him. He's very soft when it comes to Helen, but he's tough in every other way in his life, and I just love him. He's very alpha mellow, I guess, is the best way to describe him. So yeah, this was a really, really good one. This was my favorite in the Ravenel series until I read the book that is number 1. Book number 3 is another book by Lisaclus, and this is part of the Ravenel and Wallflower crossover. This is Devil in Disguise. This is the last book in the Ravenel series. And the last book that Lisaclus has written, unfortunately. She hasn't written anything since this. But in here, our heroine is the daughter of one of the couples from the Wallflower series. And our hero is a customer of hers. She runs a business. And they see each other for the first time, and they are both just immediately taken with one another. She invites him to her house, and strange things start to happen to him. And he eventually loses his memory. He cannot remember her, and she's just gutted by this. But she decides she is going to stand by her man. And it gets very, very interesting from there. I love how much the two of them are just attracted to one another. And these two are head over heels for one another, and I love it. Book number 2 is not a Lisaclus book. This is by Sarah McLean. This is the 3rd book in the Scandal and Scoundrel series. This is The Day of the Duchess. And in this book, we have a marriage in trouble. So our hero has basically treated his wife horribly since the day they got married, and she disappeared for 3 years. He tried to find her because he realized he had been an ass and that he did love his wife, and so he spent 3 years trying to find her. And then one day he is in Parliament and a woman walks in asking for a divorce, and that woman is his wife, and so he has to do everything in his power to win her back. His way of winning her back is to convince her to come and help him find a replacement wife. Like the woman that's going to replace her as his wife. He wants her help to pick a woman. But really he just wants a chance to be around her and spend time with her so that he can convince her that they should stay together. And this one was so, so good. I ended up giving it 6 stars. I love this book. There are some very beautiful moments in this story, just like one almost made me cry. I didn't cry, but it almost made me cry. It's got some hilarious moments as well. Her sisters are some of the best characters in this entire series. So her sisters show up with her when she goes to help him out, and they keep things very lively. So this was both a funny, touching, and just very just overall just amazing story. So yeah, this is my number 2 book of the year. All right, and then coming in at number 1, it's going to be another Lisaclus. This was my favorite book in the Ravenel series. This is Devil in Spring. This is the 3rd book, and this is Pandora Ravenel and Gabriel St. Vincent. Pandora is a twin sister. She wants to become a game maker, like not puzzles, but board games. And she wants to start her own business. She does not want to get married, but when she's at a ball one night, she and Gabriel are caught in what can only be considered a compromising situation. They don't know each other, but they're alone together, and the situation just looks really bad. And so they're basically told by everyone, you guys are gonna have to get married because this looks really bad. And she's basically like, no, I'm not gonna marry him. I want to have my own business one day, and that is what I'm going to do, and you cannot make me marry this man. But he is a sweetheart to the nth degree. He loves everything about her, and he puts in the work, and he finds a way to convince her to marry him, and their romance is just so good. I love this book. I cannot stop smiling reading it. Gabriel is the sweetest man. He's definitely his father's son for sure. And I just love seeing Evie and Sebastian in this book as parents. They're amazing parents. So as a whole, this book just like really did it for me. I would say between this and Devil in Disguise, I think those are probably my top two favorites in the Ravenel series. This was definitely my favorite book this year, and I plan on rereading it next year when I do my rereads for February. This was my top number one favorite book of 2024. If you've read any of these books and you want to chit chat about them, please definitely leave me some comments in the comment section. This was definitely a really good reading year. I didn't have as many 6-star reads as I had last year in 2023, but I still got some really good reads in. If you have made it to the end of this video, please leave me a star emoji and leave me some comments. Like I said, if you've read any of these books, definitely let me know. I'd love to chat with you guys in the comments section. And yeah, I will see you in 2025. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. That was very kind of you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.